This is Agent Provocateur with Allan Walsh and Adam Wylde.
Welcome to another episode of Agent Provocateur. We got something special planned for today. Adam Wylde, my good friend and co-host, how are you?
I'm very excited today because I'm speaking to a man who I understand is in high demand these days, Allan, and that being you.
It's been an interesting couple of days, and it's going to get even more interesting. So we got the draft next week in Vegas. I'll be leaving on Tuesday, and our whole group will be coming in. And July 1, unrestricted free agency.
Yes.
There's also a lot of discussions and negotiations going on with teams right now on players, restricted free agents, and guys discussing their status with their current club as they're approaching unrestricted free agency. And to top it all off, there has been a major signing in our world. Filip Hronek, as many people are aware, signed an 8-year deal with the Vancouver Canucks 2 days ago. That's still fresh. And why don't we talk about that?
Well, why don't we? And you know what's interesting about this is the way we're setting it up is we're going to talk to you, the agent, about the negotiation process, and then we're going to talk to Filip himself, which is pretty exciting because he's really only spoken to some of the Vancouver media at a press conference since, but really not much else. So I want to start with this player profile. Filip Hronek is 26 years old. He's a right shot defenseman. He plays top line power play time. He plays top line penalty killing line time. He is him and Quinn Hughes are Batman and Robin together. How do you decide what a player like this is worth at 26 years old with 1 year to unrestricted free agency? Because over this contract, he's giving 1 RFA year and 7 UFA years. That's a major thing to potentially give up. How do you approach something like this?
So you got to keep in mind, starting off, that right shot defensemen at 26 years of age, who are 45 to 50 point guys in the NHL, are unicorns, right? They don't exist. And if you want to have some circumstantial evidence to back that up, just look at what Vancouver, at the price they paid to get him in a trade from Detroit last year, being a first and a second round pick. And there are no Filip Hroneks out there on the free agent market. So there's been a lot of talk, especially in the Vancouver media, about what's the player worth, and a lot of hand-wringing over cap dollars. Let's take all of that out of the equation here. What is Filip Hronek worth? Well, a lot of people would say, well, $7.25 million a year because that's what he signed for, right? Well, you had various factors that come into play, and each factor in and of itself is something to talk about and analyze, but then you have to put them all together. And once they're all together, understanding how the player looks at the situation, how the team looks at the situation, and how they actually come together to put name to paper on the dotted line, so to speak. So Filip Hronek, 1 year from unrestricted free agency. Restricted free agent has arbitration rights. You look at the arbitration case, and there are various players in the recent past who have signed deals, who provide guidance and instruction for how much a player like that would be worth on a 1 year deal. And then you got to look at the free agent years. And what is free agency? The very essence of unrestricted free agency is an auction to the highest bidder. but you're not actually going to the market. So you're making a projection, okay, of what the value will be down the road, not too far down the road. And you're looking at, are there going to be one team bidding on the player services, or will you have a hot market with 10, 12, 15 teams bidding on a player's services? And if you do, right, the bidding, just like any item up for auction, is going to go much higher than people. I've seen, I was fascinated seeing an article about a piece of art that went up for auction at Sotheby's in New York. And the estimated price of the piece is a very rare piece of oil painting that was projected to go for $10 million, and it went for $40 million. And people were like, wow, what a price. How could that be? Well, there was 2 or 3 very wealthy billionaires bidding on the same piece of art, and they drove the price up beyond all reasonable expectations. That concept can be applied to unrestricted free agency for the right player. And again, we're talking about a unicorn. Mm-hmm. The price could have very easily gone into the 8.5, 9 million range, 9.5 million range. I know that. I've been doing this for 30 years. I have negotiated 1.6 billion plus of NHL contract value in my life, right? If that were the only instruction to me, go get me as much money as you can. I don't care where it is. I'll play on a 1-year deal and let's go make bank. That is one way to go.
Right.
It's not the way most players will go. And it's not the way Filip Hronek will go. Why? Well, here's why. He played on a team where up until this season, he never played a playoff game. He knew what it was like to play on a non-playoff team, mm-hmm. and came to learn that it sucked. And now he had an opportunity to play on a team for the first time in his career where he had a great bunch of guys that he was playing with. They were winning. They were leading the conference. They were leading the division. He had this bromance with his defense partner that he absolutely loved playing with and grew to be really good friends off the ice. And you may have seen what his defense partner, Quinn Hughes, posted after the Filip Hronek signing was announced. And maybe right at this point, Jesse, you'll add that in so everybody could see it.
Yep.
It was the image of the announcement of Phil signing with Vancouver, and Quinn had written stud underneath his photo and posted that. Those are all things that have great value to a player and great value to Phil. And on top of that, he absolutely loved the city of Vancouver, and he and his girlfriend and his dog loved living there. Right. He had great relationship with the coaches and got along really well with them, respected them, loved the way practices were structured. There were so many different things that he and I talked about that went into the decision of wanting to commit to Vancouver for 8 years. I mean, this could have gone a completely different way. Day one, I could have said to Vancouver, the only thing Phil wants to discuss is a 1-year deal. Mm-hmm. And we want to see what's out there on the other side in 1 year. It's only 1 year. He's come all this way. It's only 1 year. But when you find a place where you feel like it's a great fit and you love playing with the guys and everything else comes together, that's the decision he made. Mm-hmm. And I always listen carefully to what players say, what they want. And your job as an agent is to get them what they want. And he made it very clear from day one. And there was no hiding the ball. In all of my discussions with Vancouver, it was said right up front, Phil loves the team, loves the city, and wants to stay long term. Make no mistake. He could have done a 1-year deal. He could have gone to the free agent market. There would have been 7 years out there from any number of teams. And I'm telling you right now, mark it down, he would have made a lot more money. He knows it. I know it. You know it. Vancouver knows it. But we are living in a salary cap world. There are realities in Vancouver that it's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. Their cap is what it is. And one of the evils of the salary cap, and I've railed against the salary cap. We've done episodes against the salary cap. One of the evils of the salary cap is that it pits players against player. What he gets means I get less. What that guy gets, that means I get less. We've only got so many salary cap dollars to go around. And then the discussion in the market on social media, on podcasts, everywhere is about cap space and about cap dollars and how much is a player worth in the cap system. And it's cap. We're fucking talking about hockey. And it should be about the game. It should be about players. This obsession in some markets about the cap is not going to draw new fans in and is going to turn a lot of existing fans off because fans don't care about that. They don't really want to be talking about it. They're being forced to talk about it. Podcasts are forced to talk about it. They don't have a choice. And all of the hand-wringing going on, I got to tell you, I've been following some of the discourse going on in the Vancouver media this year, particularly regarding Filip Hronek. Mm-hmm. And I actually would listen and see some people talking with authority. I have a great source who told me Filip Hronek is $8 million and not a dollar less. And people saying, I heard that he's demanding $8 million and he's not going down $1. And at the time that these people are there saying that, there hasn't been one discussion yet about money. Mm-hmm. There has, and I'm like, I'm sitting here like, well, these people are either they're making it up, mm-hmm. or they're imagining what they think it is, or somebody says something and then everybody else picks it up and talks about it. But for all you people, if anybody here from Vancouver is watching this and listening to this, the stuff you've been reading in the media for the last and hearing on radio and on podcasts for the last 5 months, 98% of it has been fantasy. None of it is true. I mean, none of it. And it's been comical. every once in a while, Phil will shoot me a text and go, "You see this?" And we'd be laughing together. like, did you ever have that conversation? Of course not. Like, we're not even there yet. We're not even close to discussing and any of that yet. So I think in that sense, it's been, I've been through it many times before.
Mm-hmm.
I find it humorous and worth a chuckle. How serious and, I've got this from a great source. This is what's happening. This is the latest update. We haven't talked in a month. That's the kind of stuff that we've been going through this year to get the deal to the finish line. Overall, it came together very quickly over the last 5 or 6 days.
Okay. And I first off, have you ever had a client be such a talking point in a market that a guy like Michael Bublé is commenting on it? Because I thought that was kind of neat. But I want to say, Allan, you talk about how quickly this came together, and I want to stop you there because Vancouver itself, you could have said to them, as you said, 1-year deal. Beyond just the team itself, there must have been things about the city, there must have been things about the lifestyle that makes a guy like Filip Hronek go, you know what, I'm okay with giving up whatever extra money I might have made in UFA, and I want to stay here for these reasons. What do you think it is about Vancouver, the fans, and getting to the second round of the playoffs, getting to Game 7 against the Edmonton Oilers, that makes him go, man, maybe that was it right there, but there's also just the lifestyle part. Him, his girlfriend, his dog.
Yeah, and I've always believed that a key factor in players' decision making is they want to win. Mm-hmm. And Phil and I were talking about 5-6 days ago, and he said to me, "Allan, I know in my heart that Vancouver is going to win, and I want to be there." And that meant a lot to him. It carried a lot of power in his ultimate decision making. And make no mistake, every decision you make also carries with it an element of risk. We live in a world where players could get injured at any time and suffer catastrophic injury at any time, where a career could be threatened. And to have the attitude, well, this is going to be easy. I'll just go play 1 year and then I'm a free agent and I'll go to the market and, no sweat off my back. That's an easy thing to do. That's a very difficult thing to do. It comes with a lot of different kinds of pressure that exists and risk. And there is a balancing that takes place in everybody's minds versus knowing how much you like a place and like a team and feel that it's a great fit and the feeling is mutual, right? Which many times doesn't happen. Yes. But the feeling is mutual and you're taking some of the risk of your future out, i.e. serious injury, which can happen to anybody at any time. So those are all things that go into consideration. And I think that, you think about it, you weigh the different options, but I have a saying that I use with clients, and it's something that I've always lived by, and that is, don't fuck with happy. And when you find your happy place, you do everything you can to make it work. Right.
I
And
love
then, and then whether, 735, 715, 775, 795, it's a negotiation. You know what you're doing. The very good people on the other side know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you make decisions. You give a little, you take a little. It ain't just about the AAV, right? There's what kind of trade restriction can we discuss? How do we allocate the dollars over the life of the contract? Very important. What kind of signing bonus are we discussing year over year? Are we discussing signing bonus in the last 4 years? What about the potential lockout year? There's all of those things come together. And in some areas, you give a little, and in other areas, you get a little. And that is the secret sauce or the magic of getting a deal over the finish line.
Now, the big question asked of Filip at his exit meeting by the Vancouver Canucks was he injured during the playoffs? Big question.
Yeah, well, it was asked by a certain reporter at Phil's exit meeting, and
yes,
I mean we can ask it of Phil when he comes on, because he's going to be on as a guest in a little bit.
Okay,
but every single player who goes through an 82 game season and a number of games in the playoffs is nursing something. Mm-hmm. There is, I mean, I have never talked to a player. Never. I'm saying the word. I never say never. I'm saying never. I have never talked to a player who during a season or during the playoffs, it has nothing going on with them. Some guys have a sore groin. They have a sore back. They have a sprained MCL that is 3 weeks post sprain and giving them some problems. They've got tightness in their neck. They got a sore elbow. They got a sore shoulder. There's always something. There's always something. So the idea that a player isn't 100%, no one is 100%.
No,
there isn't. No one is 100%. Okay, but if you're able to play, you're not injured. And Filip Hronek, throughout the latter part of the season and playoffs, was not injured. And I don't know how many times he needs to say it, and how many times people say, well, Filip says he wasn't injured, but he wasn't, or Filip isn't using injury as an excuse. He wasn't injured. He wasn't injured. He answers the question directly several times, and people come away and say, well, he says he wasn't injured, but we know he was.
Right.
For the love of God, he wasn't injured. And what did he have something here and there that he was nursing? Minor and not worthy of discussing or bringing up. In the world we live in, with everybody having something, he wasn't injured. Next
Beautiful.
question.
I love it. Okay, well, what about this? There was a lot of dialogue. I mean, and in any intense hockey media market, there's going to be a lot of dialogue around a potential contract extension. A lot of dialogue about, well, he can't make more than Quinn Hughes. How do you respond to that?
Anyone who says that, right, has no clue about how the NHL really works, how the business side of the NHL really works. Take Phil and Quinn Hughes out of the equation. I'm just talking from a business perspective. You cannot compare restricted years, RFA years, right, and many people don't realize when Quinn Hughes signed his contract, he was not a restricted free agent, yet he hadn't played enough in the NHL to achieve restricted free agent status. He was in a special kind of status, which didn't allow him to get an offer sheet. It actually is the least amount of leverage you could possibly have in any kind of a negotiation coming out of entry level. Versus a player who, if we're talking an 8-year deal, it's 1 restricted year and 7 unrestricted years. You are talking about apples and oranges. And for those who don't agree with me, let me say this. In, I believe it's 3 years, Quinn Hughes' contract will be up, and his next deal will be his 3rd contract, which is Filip's contract status right now. This is his 3rd contract. And Quinn Hughes, great player, Norris Trophy, maybe the winner. What's his next contract going to be? 13 million? 13.5 million? I mean, remember, we have a salary cap upper limit right now at 88 million. Mm-hmm. It's going next year to about 93 million. Mm-hmm. Then it's going to 97, 98 million. So, and then the year after around 102, 103 million. So we're going to be talking about, a player who will become, his contract will expire with a upper limit near $100 million. And when Quinn Hughes signs for 13 and a half, 14, whatever it is, mm-hmm. do you think people then are going to look at Filip Hronek at 7.25 and say, well, Phil is only worth half of what Quinn Hughes is worth, whereas right now they're within, 500,000 of each other? People don't have a clue. Well, they'll say, well, for appearance's sake, you can't have that. Let me tell you something. At no time in any of the negotiations with Vancouver was that fact ever brought up or discussed by either side in the negotiation. And it's laughable to think that it would come up mm-hmm. in negotiations, because the club and the people negotiating are very experienced and understand the business of the NHL and the status of different players at different times. And for anyone to say from a club side to me, well, Filip can't make more than this player or that player who isn't similarly situated in rights under the CBA, would get laughed at. And I'm watching media people say, well, I still think he can't get more than this guy and more than that guy, and he can't get more than Filip Quinn Hughes. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. It has never been discussed. It would never be discussed. You're talking about a player with a contract with all restricted years versus a player with a contract with 1 restricted year, 7 unrestricted years. It is comparing a dog to a cat.
Man, those media people, they don't know anything, right? Listen, I'm sitting on the other side going,
You said that, not me.
Now, Allan, there's so much good that comes out of this. I just want to ask you, before we bring Phil on here, when this deal finally gets done from your end, do you just call each other and go, or is there like a moment to even celebrate, or a moment to think, or are you on to the next thing?
It's not that I'm really close to Phil. I'm really close to all my clients. I think that's something that I'm known for, is I spend a lot of time with them. We spend a lot of time talking. There's constant communication going back and forth. It's not really a feeling of celebration. It's a feeling that a significant piece of business has been done, and it's not jump into the next thing, but there is a feeling that a significant accomplishment has occurred. Milestone in the player's career, a milestone for the team. I had some great conversations with Patrick Alvin, Emily, Jim Rutherford. At the end, when we got to the finish line, it's important to always maintain a level of integrity and professionalism with the people that you deal with on the other side. Mm-hmm. And when people see my Twitter account or some of the comments I've made publicly, or even some of the things that get said on this podcast, it's a lot different than when you're in business mode and when you're actually negotiating with teams. I wouldn't be doing this for 30 years with all the players that I have and all the contracts that I've done if you don't have integrity and approach your business with a modicum of professionalism. And I've always prided myself on that.
Beautiful. Well, is it time to bring Phil on?
It absolutely is.
So let's bring on Filip Hronek for the first time to Agent Provocateur.
Let's go.
And welcoming on to Agent Provocateur for the very first time, a now soon-to-be long-time Vancouver Canuck, Filip Hronek. Congratulations on the new contract, and welcome to the show, man. We're so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm excited too.
Hey, Phil, just think, eight more years of Vancouver media.
Amazing. I guess I will have to do more and more and more.
So let's talk about that. You didn't really do much media, if at all through this season. Why is that?
I don't know. Honestly, I just like to concentrate on myself, and I don't need to talk much, and I'm not a big talker, I feel like. So
I know you as a really funny guy. You're great. You have a great sense of humor. You've got really interesting interests off the ice. There's a lot that you read and you follow and you watch and have interest in different things. And I'd love to talk about some of that. So first off, you and I have a lot in common. We're both dog lovers. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your dog?
Yeah, we're both dog lovers. We should do dog cast next time, but my dog is visiting parents right now. So yeah, my dog is awesome and we have a lot of fun. We have him for 4 years, so he's basically my kid. So we do everything together.
And I got to tell you, like recently we were together during the playoffs, and the tricks that you've taught your dog to do is pretty amazing.
Yeah, he's smart. Probably smarter than me.
Really smart. And when I'm not even commenting on that one, but I'm not touching that. But when you go to play with his dog, he sticks his butt out at you, and he wants you to rub his butt. Right? Like it's really funny. And Phil can talk to him in Czech. It's a Czech dog. He only understands Czech, not English, and get him to lay down and get him to do all kinds of different things that it's great. And life in Czech in the summer it's a really special place. And you're from a city, Hradec Králové. Tell us a little bit about your town, where you're from, and what it was like growing up there, and what you like doing in the summer.
I'm living in a small village. It's like 5 minutes from the city. I grew up here, so a lot of outside stuff. And I like to fishing and hunting with my brother. So we always do that during the summer. So that's basically it. Like outside of the city life.
What kind of fish do you catch?
We have carp fishing is the biggest in Czech, I guess. So
And how big do they get?
well, they get big. They
Yeah?
get big. They're like, yeah, they can have like 1 meter and 20 kilos, I guess.
Wow.
I guess the biggest carp in Czech is recorded is like 26, between 30 to 26 kilos.
And what's the biggest fish you've ever caught?
10 kilos.
It's crazy.
That's my biggest, but
You got to have a pretty intense fishing rod for that too, don't you? Like there's like very specialized ones so they can bend.
yeah, it bends and it's a lot of fun. Depends which way you're fishing. Depends if you're fishing like 4 meters from the, I don't know. I don't know how you say that. When you're like on the ground on the water.
Right.
It's like, sometimes it's like 4 meters just right under you, and sometimes it's like 90 meters away from you. So all depends. So it's different fishing, kind of. More energy for carps when they're closer. So it's battle right away from the start. If you're fishing on 90 meters, it's kind of easy, and then you get it close, and then the battle starts.
How long does it take to bring in the fish from the time you get a bite?
10 minutes, I would say. 10, 15. Depends how big it is. Yeah, you can feel if it's big or smaller. If it's smaller, it moves more. It's like having different movement, so you can feel it on the...
Right.
That's a good battle.
Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of fun. So, yeah.
Good way to stay in shape too.
Yeah, for arms, it's good sometimes. Really tiring when it's going for a longer time than 10 minutes. Then, yeah.
You burn a little bit.
Yeah, not really, but you really enjoy that. It's fun.
Now, Phil, I know you to be a guy that works incredibly hard in the summer in the gym. And every year you've come to training camp in the NHL, you've been in incredible shape the first day you walk in the door. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about what you do in the summer, what your training is like, and when do you start skating? And tell us what you do in the gym.
It's pretty simple. I mean, in the gym, I feel like most of the guys doing the same stuff, like heavy lifting and trying to get quicker and all that stuff. And then, like, first 6 weeks, I'm trying to stay away from the ice to kind of rest and just build the muscles. And then when my team here starts skating, the team always let me skate with them, so I skate with them, and then I have a guy from Prague coming to my city to skate with me, just doing the skill stuff. So it's kind of busy.
You just finished your first year in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And I know in discussions with you over the course of the whole year that when you got to Vancouver at the trade deadline 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago, that very quickly you love the city. What do you like about Vancouver as a city? Why do you like living there so much?
I like Vancouver. I always liked it when we came for road trips there. It feels like you have a lot of stuff to do, and then when you live there, you have actually a lot of stuff to do, a lot of things going on. So you always can make yourself busy, and good food and good restaurants, which is even better. So those things are the biggest.
What do you do in your free time in the city?
Most of the time we just walk our dog. That's the main thing. He loves to walk. He can't sit around at home, so we walk him a lot around the city.
And some great views and some great weather even throughout the winter to take a dog on a walk, right? Vancouver's known for that.
I mean, the best part was before the season and during the playoffs when the weather was really nice, wasn't raining, and you can actually go for walks because sometimes our dog gets stuck when it's raining outside. He doesn't want to go out. So
yeah,
he just look out and he just look at you like, "Are you kidding me?"
Do you have a code for him? Cover him up, or is he just going out?
No codes for dogs.
No. I like that.
You have a very good friend in Czech who's a MMA fighter. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your friendship, the fact that you've gone together with him to fights, and how a fan you are of MMA and UFC and all that.
Well, I met him first. MMA wasn't that big in Czech, I would say a couple of years ago, and now it's growing. And I met my friend, and I kind of got into him, and he's a really smart guy. So sometimes he helped me out with nutrition stuff, and we can discuss everything. So he's a great guy and really smart, so he can help you out with a lot of things. And it's interesting sports, and the workouts, the work they put in, it's incredible.
Have you ever trained with him?
Every summer I train with him a little bit, but this summer I want to get into it even more. So I'm trying to get better. It's good for cardio, and the thing with him that he's smart, I am not afraid I would get hurt from him. So he knows what he's doing, and he wouldn't hurt me. So that's the good part about it.
Right.
If he would punch me 100%, I would be sleeping in 2 seconds. It's incredible. His head movement and that stuff is crazy. Can't even touch him.
What do you think you guys have in common as athletes in terms of your body movement? Is it shifting? Is it cardio? What types of things are transferable?
I don't know. The strength, I would say, is the biggest thing, and the movement is different on the ice. Sometimes he jumps on with me when I'm skating, when I have the skill skates, so he jumps on, so it's a lot of fun too. And
is he a good skater?
It's different, so yeah, he's decent, not bad. Okay. Not bad. Working on it. Getting better.
Well, he's got a good coach.
Good prospect.
Well, I know a good agent he might want to get hooked up with if he ever decides to pursue it. Phil, I know that you and Allan have known each other a while. How did you guys first kind of get hooked up as player and agent? How did you meet Allan?
I think first time we met at the combines. That was the first time we met personally, I think, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And then at the draft, we had a big dinner with the Octagon, which was amazing with the families and stuff before the draft. So it was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then since that, I'm with him. I got locked up.
Well, I mean, listen, Allan had a couple of years ago a young Czech defenseman go in the top 10. It looks like we got and that would be David Juracek. Adam Juracek is going to go probably somewhere mid to late first round here. What's it like to be a player from Czech going in the draft? Is it intimidating? What kind of advice would you give players like that based on your experience?
I don't know. Just enjoy it. That's the biggest thing. The draft is the biggest thing, just to enjoy and just make sure you work after that. You work hard and hopefully it's going to pay off. Right.
Now, I know that you and Allan, I know Allan's a big foodie. I've heard that you are. I was told that you guys have a favorite place to have dinner, and it's in a very specific city. Do you happen to know what I'm talking about? Favorite place for dinner with you two?
There's a bunch.
Well, in LA, we've got to a bunch of places. We've been to my favorite sushi place. There's a couple of steakhouses. There's a spot in Vancouver that we've been to a couple of times. We've had great meals there.
Yeah.
There was a unreal place that Phil took me to once in Detroit. We had a great meal, and you'd become good friends with the owner.
Yeah, that was my go-to in Detroit, that place. And when we played there with Vancouver, we went there with the guys. So it was awesome to go there again.
Yeah. There was that place in Seattle I sent you to that you had a big dinner with the trainers.
Yeah, that was a cool place too, but been there just once. I don't remember the name, but it was pretty good there.
You had a view up on the top floor. You had a view of the whole city from up there. Yeah.
That was amazing. It was pretty cool and really good food.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, in terms of playing, I had the pleasure of actually watching every single one of your playoff game because I was covering it for the network that I run with my business partners here, and it was right down to the last period, right, with you guys. It was an unbelievable run. What was it like for you? How do you think you'll look back on these two rounds, going to Game 7 against Edmonton, who are now in the finals? What do you take away from that?
It was good experience and a lot of learning for our group. But it was a lot of fun. The city was living with it, so you could feel it from the city. So that's the best thing you can have in any sport, I guess, when you feel the support from the fans and everyone is into it.
Right. And Allan, did you get the chance to get down there and see a few games?
Oh yeah, I was there. I was there each round.
And what did you see? What did you take away from it? Because this is a playoff-starved city. They haven't been very often, and they certainly haven't won very much since they went all the way to the finals in 2011.
It was incredible, especially the first game in playoffs. The building was going crazy. And when you're walking on the ice and you see everyone is having the towels in the hands and everyone's cheering, it was pretty cool.
Allan, for you, watching that and seeing that, as an agent, watching a player come from the combine all the way up through and seeing his first playoff action, is there a degree of pride when you're there?
Oh, 100%. I was thinking the first playoff game I attended to see Vancouver play in the first round. Phil, your whole NHL career up until this year, you'd never played a playoff game ever. And I've always believed that it takes losing in the playoffs one year to understand what it takes to win in the playoffs going forward. And losing makes you a better player. You learn more. Mm-hmm. And Wayne Gretzky tells some great stories about the first years the Oilers in their formative years were in the playoffs and lost to the New York Islanders. And it wasn't until they lost that they really understood what it takes to win. And I think that where Vancouver is right now as a team and where the players are age-wise in their respective careers, Phil at 26 years of age, you're just going into your prime years as a player. And, I thought Patrick Alvin in his media availability a couple of days ago really spoke eloquently about how they see you as still having a lot of growth coming, and you have not in any way reached your ceiling or full potential yet. And that's, I think, very exciting for them, for you, and for me, and for Vancouver fans.
And I want to add to that, playing with Quinn Hughes. I think everybody wants to know, is it as fun as it looks? Is it as fun as you guys make it look out on the ice?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We really enjoyed this year. We had a lot of fun, and playing with Quinn is special. He's a special player, so it's pretty easy to play with him.
Yeah.
What was your relationship like off the ice?
We had a good relationship off and on the ice. He's a nice guy, and you can talk to him about anything, and I believe he feels the same way. He can talk to me about anything, so it's pretty good.
Well, you saw what he posted about you on Instagram.
Yeah, great guy.
Called you a stud.
Yeah.
Phil, when do you think you'll be heading into Vancouver for the start of next season?
Well, I didn't make plans yet. It's still far.
So you're telling me we're going to be working on it together?
Yeah, we will work on it together for sure. But I guess early September probably, to see the weather is gonna be nice, so probably it's nice time. I was there last year, September 1st, I think. So the weather was nice, short, and you can make the walks around the city.
All right. One last question. What's your favorite part about playing hockey in Vancouver?
The fans. It's the fans and the group of the guys we have in the room.
I thought you were going to say media.
Yeah, that's number 3 for sure. but it's on the list somewhere for sure. But the group of the guys we have and the fans, they give us energy, and the group is really tight, I feel like. So that's the best thing you can have.
Awesome. Well,
Beautiful.
listen, thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Thanks for showing everybody, who you are, and talking a little bit about your personal life away from the game. And it's been a great pleasure working for you all these years. We have a lot of fun together, and I know we'll continue having a lot of fun together.
Yep, we will for sure.
This has been Agent Provocateur with Allan Walsh and Adam Wylde. Follow Allan Walsh on Twitter @WalshA. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts by searching Agent Provocateur and hitting the subscribe button. YouTube.com/SDPN.